Good day, everyone. We are the Group 5 and we will present to you our topic entitled Genetically Modified Organism. For the brief introduction, it will discussed by Miss Cruz.
So GMO. GMO stands for genetically modified organism. These are organisms that has had its DNA altered or modified in some way through genetic engineering. It also refers to the transfer of genes between organisms using a series of laboratory techniques for cloning genes, splicing DNA segments together, and inserting genes into cells. Some call or use terms like GM, which stands for genetically modifications, GE as in genetic engineering, bioengineered, and transgenic to identify GMOs. So the next presenter is Mr. Ira Santiago, and he will discuss the prime reasons why crops or organisms were modified.
So, what are the main or prime reasons why crops or organisms are modified? So, crops or organisms are modified to further ensure greater food production. Its modifications aim to protect crops from pests and other diseases, making it possible for greater food production. And crops or organisms are also modified to enhance its nutritional value. Alongside with its nutritional value, it also aims to provide longer shelf life and resistance to drought and other calamities. And for the next topic, Ms. Charlene Esteban will lead you through it. Thank you.
So for the benefits, first is GMOs may have more nutrients. GMO crops are developed to give extra nutrients such as vitamins and minerals. It has the potential to improve the nutritional content of foods. For example, rice high in beta-carotene, popularly known as golden rice, was developed to help prevent blindness in areas where vitamin A deficiency is a chronic problem. Second, it reduces carbon emissions. GMOs are already assisting farmers all around the world in reducing agricultural production's environmental impact. Herbicide-tolerant GM crops, combined with farming methods such as conservation tillage, help to reduce carbon emissions on farms around the world and are an important part of reducing agriculture's carbon footprint. As a result, crop yields are improved, soil health and water retention are improved, and greenhouse gas emissions are reduced. In fact, producing GMO crops reduce carbon dioxide emissions by the equivalent of taking 16.7 million cars off the road for an entire year in 2016. For the continuation, it will be discussed by Ms. Akbo.
Moreover, food supply has increased while its cost reduces because GMO crops have enhanced crop yields while also reducing pesticide use. By combining these two strategies, we can produce more food with fewer inputs. Reduced pesticide use equals reduced pesticide production demand, and as a result, less energy is used by farmers. Another benefit to this is having a solution to hunger and malnutrition all over the world. Biotechnology has enormous potential for underdeveloped countries. Improved food security, poverty alleviation, and environmental protection will all benefit from the use of high-yielding, disease and pest-resistant crops. GM crops are expected to provide higher yields on less land. This could boost total production and provide a way for developing countries to self-sufficiency while also reducing global hunger. Lastly, GMO crops can be medicinal food, used as vaccine, or be considered as treatment or medicine. Since the 1980s, genetically modified organisms have become a mainstay of biomedical research. Researchers were able to test novel medicines and investigate the roles of possible risk factors and moderators of disease outcome using GM animal models of human genetic diseases. GM microorganisms, plants, and animals also changed the pharmaceutical industry by allowing for the development of safer and less expensive vaccines and medicines. So for the risk, this will be discussed by my group mates, Ms. Charlene Esteban and Mr. Paisal Sari.
GMO crops can offer many advantages in cost and nutrition, but some experts worry that they may carry health risks as well. So for the risk, first is allergic reactions. GMO foods, according to some, have a higher risk of causing allergic reactions. It's likely that the altered DNA will cause allergies in people who would not normally be allergic to the food. This is due to the possibility that they might include DNA from an allergen, which is a food that causes an allergic reaction. People with known food allergies have no way to avoid the potentially significant health implications of ingesting GMO foods that include concealed allergenic material if there is no labeling. Second, loss of nutrition. Food's nutritional value can also be influenced by genetic engineering. According to the researchers who looked into the issue of nutrient loss in GE foods, genetic engineering of crops could result in undesirable changes in the content of nutrients in such foods. They further noted that these nutritional alterations may go unnoticed by breeders unless genetically altered plants are examined especially for these modifications. For the continuation, it will be discussed by Mr. Sari.
Thank you for that, Ms. Esteban. Another risk of GMO is antibiotic resistance. Another unstated danger of genetically engineered food is that they make disease-causing bacteria resistant to a present antibiotic, leading to a rise in the spread of infection and disorders among humans. Antibiotic-resistant indicators are included in almost all GMO crops, which enables manufacturers to determine whether the new genetic material has been successfully transmitted into the host food. The FDA planned to introduce these antibiotic marker genes into the food supply on a broad scale might render vital antibiotic worthless in the battle of against human illnesses. Meanwhile, the British Medical Association addressed this issue. There should be a restriction on the use of antibiotic resistance marker genes in the GM food. They also concluded that since the danger to human health from antibiotic resistance emerging in microbes is one of the greatest public health issues that will be confronted in the 21st century. Next is toxicity. Foods that have been genetically modified are generally unstable. Each insertion of a new gene, as well as the cassette of promoter, antibiotic marking system, and the vectors that go with it, is done at random. GE Foods manufacturers simply have no idea where their genetic asset is being put in the food, nor they have enough knowledge of the genetic or chemical makeup of foods to determine a safe location for such insertion. As a result, each gene insertion into a similar product is similar to watching a food safety relay with a corporation hoping that the additional genetic material does not destabilize and make a safe item a dangerous one. Each genetic insertion increases the risk of previously harmless component in the meal it is becoming harmful. And lastly, immunosuppression. Immunosuppression is a condition in which your immune system isn't responding or operating properly. The Lancet, a prestigious British medical publication, just published an important research done by Dr. Arpad Pudzai and Stanley Ewen, in which the Scottish government ran it. The researchers looked at how eating potatoes genetically altered to carry the biopticide Bacillus thuringiensis affected the rats. The researchers discovered that the rat fed by genetically modified potatoes had a severe negative impact on the organ development, body metabolism, and immunological function. Dr. Punzai and his researchers were targeted by the biotechnological sector. They have not published, however, they have not published a single research of their own to contradict his conclusion. Furthermore, 22 eminent experts have concluded that animal tests linking genetically modified foods to immunosuppression are reliable and valid. That's all for our presentation. Flash on the screen are for our references. We hope that you learned something from us. Once again, we are the Group 5, and thank you for listening.